So there has been a lot of talk and assumptions that AI is basically going to displace the entire software industry. This is
Basically,
not
that
true.
everybody whose job it is to make software are going to lose their job because AI is going to do it more efficiently and more cost effective than them. Is that the fear?
Well, that and also that AI would just make software obsolete. Like, why would you need software when AI could just spin up software itself and basically do things that software would have otherwise done? And now you don't need the software to do it. Okay,
Yeah.
this is folly. And I'll tell you several reasons why this is folly. I say this, a lot of this has to do with data. And I am big, if people haven't figured out, I am big on show me the evidence. Don't show me the realm, the art of what's possible. Don't show me what might happen theoretically 5 years down the road. Show me the evidence now. Because right now, there is no evidence of that. The software industry has been getting cooked, particularly, really not just this year, really for the last few years. And that's been driven by high interest rates. Because we're in a high interest rate environment, software companies historically have relied on venture funding to get capital. And a lot of them weren't really that profitable because the whole model of growing a software company was to raise money from venture capital. And all they want to see is user growth. They don't care about revenue or profitability. They care about revenue. They don't care about profitability right now. And then that suddenly just switched. And then suddenly there was a high interest rate environment. And there was a lot of hiring for software companies up from about 2020 to 2022 because people were all staying at home. And we thought, well, we need Zoom to do work now. And that was like a new thing, apparently. And so there was a lot of investment in hiring in software companies. And, Zoom stock went up to like, $400 something a share. I mean, Eric Yuan was one of the richest people in the world. And now it's probably, I don't know, 70 or something. I don't know, it keeps getting smashed over the last week. So, but here's the reality, right? The software industry has been hit by contracting multiples, meaning that the value that's placed on $1 of earnings for a software company is now way less than what it was in 2022. In 2022, the average price to earnings for a software company was in the 90s, meaning that $1 would be worth $90 in terms of what you would have to pay to buy into that stock. So if you have $1 million of earnings, the stock's worth $90 million. But today, if you have $1 million of earnings, it's probably worth something like 20 to 25 million. It's
the
same
amount
amount of
based
earnings.
on what people think the company is.
Exactly.
The valuation.
Based on sentiment. It's usually based on future revenue, right? That's really what's happening. It's future revenue. So it's like, okay, looking 10 years down the road, do we think AI is going to kind of like leapfrog software where there's going to be less spending in software? That's the assumption. This is why I think this is folly, okay? So first of all, plenty of people and companies have come out against this. Jensen Huang said it's silly. You got to remember, a lot of big AI players are in the software
People who are
space.
on your side of this argument?
Yes. A lot of big AI players are in the software space. Microsoft, Oracle, Google, these are all software makers that sell and make a lot of money off of software. Gartner, which is a big research firm, projected that worldwide software spending is going to grow 15% in 2026 to more than $1.4 trillion. And that's up from 2025, where it grew 11.5%. So that's $180 billion in net new software spending in a single year. The U.S. application software industry analysts are expecting annual earnings growth of 24.6%. Last year, the earnings growth was 18.7%. So the earnings story, the earnings are accelerating. They're not just growing, it's accelerating in growth. There's no decline there. But like I said, the price to earnings multiples have fallen to even lower than the S&P 500 average, okay? And the S&P 500 includes a lot of boring ass companies that really should not have high multiples applied to them because they have no scalability. Software scales infinitely. Once you build the software, you have kind of like a baseline overhead for running it. But then every time I sell a new license, it doesn't really cost me anything. You see what I'm saying? And that's the difference between a company that sells software and a company that sells, like Marriott or something. Like if Marriott wants to expand to sell more, they could raise the prices, but really they need to build more hotels, which is very expensive. Or, Delta needs to have more flights. They could sell more seats, but they have to really build more airplanes and get more, those routes. But all that being said, tech workers are hurting. These are the people who are being laid off. And granted, not all of the companies laying people off are software companies, but Google's on layoff, Microsoft's on layoffs, Oracle just did a lot of layoffs. And so what Goldman Sachs found is that these people are taking about a month longer than the average worker to find a new job. And they're coming back into the workforce at an average of a 3% wage decline. So in 2021, Q1 2026, this year is what I meant to say, 52,000 tech workers were laid off. There were another 19,000 just in March, which is a 40% year over year increase. So everyone seems to be moving to this. Now, let me explain why this is folly in addition to the data points I provided. And this is coming from inside knowledge. Software and AI need each other. They are direct beneficiaries and complements to each other. Why? Because AI at its core is digital productivity, and software at its core is digital productivity. Are there things that AI could do that current software options maybe aren't designed? Yeah, but ultimately, almost every single software provider is embedding AI into its product to allow people to do exactly anything else you could do with AI with the same flagship models that are being used everywhere else. And so there are certain tasks that we do in our work that require software. For example, just this last week, in my job, I used a Claude Opus 4.6 model to overhaul 2 key workflows of mine to make them a lot easier. And what that basically amounted to was teaching the model a skill that it could do every time I repeated this process. I had to go into whatever software was holding this data set that I wanted it to analyze, and then I had to download it from there, feed it into Claude Opus model, and ask it to perform certain analyses, design outputs, make it look a certain way so that I had a version that I could send to a customer, and I had a version I could send to a manager, and I had a version that allowed me to work with, upload some of the data to some other tools. This process normally would have taken me like 3 hours, and it was just very painful each time. My point is that after that was done, I now have to take this output that the AI created and then put it into SharePoint or put it into some other software so someone else can view it, like Slack. Software doesn't leave the equation. That is one example, granted. But that's the thing. They work together. There are points in our workflows where there's going to be AI and software. And the software is like a distributor for AI because they have relationships with every single company in the world. Doesn't matter how big or how small. You know, I want to know how many companies use Microsoft? Almost all of them use Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
So Microsoft is a distributor that AI needs because they can't build that distribution themselves, right? And also Microsoft needs AI because as of now, they don't have their own models, right? So they need those tool enhancements that AI provides. The other thing here is that trying to think that AI will just displace software completely ignores how big companies actually buy technology. It took banks years to start the digital transformation just to move everything from on-premise servers to the cloud because that's just their process. It goes through a lot of reviews, security reviews, through InfoSec, IT reviews, all kinds of shit. And then once they actually decide on a technology provider, there's a whole year to 2-year process where they start rolling it out and doing change management so that they start training people on how to use it and making sure that they have reference guides and all sorts of resources around it. There is no company that's a big company that's just going to be like, all right, you know what? We don't need Salesforce anymore, even though our entire company runs on Salesforce. Let's just let Claude do that. Let's just let Claude do it because they know it's not tested. It's not really designed for that. And AI has
a database.
And AI has a tendency to hallucinate things. So if they hallucinate one thing, your whole company's you have absolutely no way to know what's fact from fiction in terms of your company.
And it can burn your credibility if you let that go public in some way.
Yeah. And so the market was kind of hypocritical about this for a while because up until just this last week, hyperscalers like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft and Meta, their stocks were way down from the start of the year, in large part because they were spending so much on AI. And I always said, well, how could both of those things be true? If AI is going to displace the software industry, those bets should pay off. Like I said, software spending is $1.4 trillion. So if they're spending $600 billion to capture, $1 trillion or whatever, just in 1 year, that's a good payoff. How can you say that those AI bets won't pay off, but also software stocks are down, meaning they will be displaced by AI? Both can't be true. That has sort of shifted in the last few days where those stocks are up, except for Meta. Meta is up, but it's nowhere near its sort of like rolling 90-day average in terms of its price. I think Meta just has a lot of issues behind it where people like questioning management, like how the fuck did you spend $80 billion on the metaverse? I don't think there's any evidence so far to suggest that AI is being displaced by software. Everything we've seen so far is theoretical. Software spending is going up and AI spending is going up. And I don't know why people in this instance and when they talk about AI replacing jobs think that it has to be one or the other. It can be both.
Who is like the main public person or institution who seems to think that it's gonna chew into and overtake the software industry, or is it just based on layoffs in companies that make their money from making software.
It's really the markets that are acting this way. Companies and executives respond to the market. So if the market says, and they don't have to say it explicitly, but if the market starts questioning whether Intuit, which makes QuickBooks and Credit Karma, then they will say, okay, well, maybe we need an AI play, which they have. I want to say with Anthropic. They have a partnership with Anthropic. I mean, look at Google, right? Google search is now what? It's basically like you have AI mode and then you have search mode, right? And they kind of interplay with each other because there are times when you need both. And this kind of goes back to a couple of years ago. Everyone thought AI was going to eat Google search. And so Google stock was down for a while. Well, that didn't happen. Is a lot of search happening on AI? Yes. But Google search is still really strong. My point is that both can coexist. And the markets are just off about this. And I think that once interest rates, and I don't know if they're going to get cut now because the inflation report just came out, it was 3.3%. Once interest rates start getting cut, I think we should see a rebound in software. I think that software is getting so cheap that it almost looks like a safe haven, but it doesn't feel like one because people think that AI will eat into it. And I just don't think that's the case.
Yeah, we're just not at a point yet where that's...
What about you and your job? I'm curious. What's your kind of split between using software versus AI?
They're pretty well integrated at this point. In my main job, I'm not going to go into too much detail about what it is or where I work, but I work in, nonprofit communications.
CIA.
Yeah. That'd be cool. And we have some AI tools that are integrated in the software. I mean, it's Copilot essentially through all the Microsoft software that we use, but I don't like it. I feel like it's more of a hassle to do anything with it. So I rely more on, it used to be ChatGPT. Now it's Gemini in terms of, I do a lot of writing. So it's for text editing and that type of thing and just summarizing documents, etc. But it's a good split. I would say it's probably maybe 60-40 right now, 60 software, 40 AI in terms of...
But have you lost any software tools?
Oh, interesting.
I'm just curious because seems like you're using software less, but also you're using AI within the software. And I'm wondering if that's
in conjunction with, have I lost? No, to my knowledge, in the time that I've been with this organization, no, we have not lost access to any software. We've not said like, we're going to cancel this license and let AI handle it.
Yeah.
No,
to be fair, I think most companies are like yours. It's like people think, oh, everyone's so tech forward. You could just easily make an AI.
Most businesses are small businesses. They're not tech experts. They're not banks. They're not Alphabet. They're not Amazon. They're not none of these like giants. They're small local businesses in communities across all 50 states, if we're thinking purely the United States here, who are not tech experts. They're not in any sort of financial position to kind of automate everything away. People who run like an HVAC company or a plumber or, somebody who does secretarial, house cleaning, somebody who runs a restaurant. It's just, that's most businesses in this company or in this country.
Yeah, exactly. And my point to add on to that would be that even large businesses, most of them are not very tech forward. They have people who've been at the company for like 20 or 30 years. They're not keen on change. And when they do change, it's very thoughtful. They're not going to rush to the next trend just to do it. They might do that like in a small program or something. And fine, if that happens and it's successful, then maybe that's the seed. I'm starting to see this displacement actually take place. But tell me where you're seeing that right now, because everything is pointing towards software spend going up. And by the way, it's integrating AI into it. I think 40% of enterprise applications will have AI built into them this year. And nobody's getting rid of QuickBooks. QuickBooks is like the stickiest product in the world, probably along with maybe Salesforce or something. You know how hard it is to rip out Salesforce? Now, I just want to say that I am talking about some of the biggest software companies in the world. I'm thinking about Adobe, ServiceNow, Salesforce, Workday, Intuit I mentioned. What about software companies underneath that? Yes, I do think that certain point solutions, they're called point solutions because they basically just solve one single problem, will probably start going away. But that was already starting to happen before the AI revolution, because they were already having trouble selling more licenses because once interest rates started to go up, CFOs started to take over company decisions. And I have seen that firsthand. I have seen firsthand how big companies adopt technology, what process they take to build into their workflows. And I've seen firsthand what decisions they make financially in terms of expanding into new technologies and software. And it is changing. And so the software industry has moved from growing revenue by adding more licenses to actually increasing what people spend on each license. So instead of saying like, we're going to, this company, Bank of America has, 50,000 seats for Salesforce. We're going to sell them another 10,000 seats. They're saying, no, we're going to keep it at 50,000 or maybe even move away from the seat model altogether. And we're just going to make them pay more for each of those seats. And that's where a lot of the growth has been coming from. It doesn't really matter though. Fine. Industries consolidate all the time, right? There's going to be AI companies that consolidate in a few years because they just couldn't raise more money or something. And by the way, to your point, almost half of the entire workforce in private sector works for small businesses. I just don't see
You
where
were a
this is
small
happening.
business owner. What?
I was.
Yeah. Were you at any point like, I'm just going to get rid of all of the software that deals with customer interaction and inventory and work, HR management? Like, I'm just going to get rid of all of it and shoehorn it into Gemini or Claude or whatever. Yeah.
You can't do that. HR especially, there's so much compliance things involved in that.
Yeah.
Making sure you're paying for workers' comp and all this stuff. You can't have just fucking Claude build that up. But what I would do, and this is where I think AI will probably eat some jobs and this has already been well established, but like administrative, clerical jobs will probably be destroyed by AI. And those, unfortunately, it's not a high percentage of all the jobs out there. It's maybe about 5 to 6%. But those, unfortunately, will have trouble moving into new jobs.